I turned 50 at Christmas, and in my head I was like, oh, I'll be like so in love by my 50th, and my partner will like just put on such a beautiful party for me, and it will just be fabulous, like with all my friends, and it'll be wonderful. Anyway, no boyfriend arrived in time.
Hello and welcome to Theheartofit. We are recording from Gadigal land today, and while Cam is not with me, I actually have an incredibly special and dear friend with me. You may actually have heard of her, the gorgeous, the divine Cathy Mahoney.
Oh, so exciting. It's not our first rodeo though, is it? We've had a few pods together.
I know. In fact, we became really dear friends when you came on Separate Bathrooms with your book, Currently Between Husbands. And we kind of fell in love with each other there. I think I fell in love with you first.
No, I think it was equal. Do you remember it was like Cam wasn't even in the room, even though he was in the room? It was just like, oh.
I know. And we've been friends ever since.
We have. Proper friends.
Proper friends.
Like literally have cried on you. You've cried on me.
Yeah.
We've laughed together.
Yeah.
We've eaten a lot of stuff. We've been in the water.
Yes.
We've been hairy. We've been less hairy. That's on the beach. I'm talking about.
Yes, indeed. Not in private.
Not in private. Why? What sort of friend are you? That's all to come.
And I've sort of ridden the road with you as you've navigated your time, you know, on your different apps, on the apps, off the apps, like hate the apps, love the apps, and it's just been, you know, having been in a marriage for an awfully long time, I'm living totally vicariously through your extraordinary love life.
Extraordinary, would we call it that?
I think call it that.
I don't think it's that active. Although we've had 2 spikes, haven't we, this year?
Yeah,
we've
had
2 spikes.
Well, if it's been nothing, it has been interesting. Like, right?
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I still have to see. So just so the listeners know, I don't have a lot of sleepover action.
Yes.
I would like more. I don't have a lot. But we did end up having some sleepover action from the app. That was a build-up, took a couple of weeks. And you were the one that made me tell 2 people in the building that I had a gentleman caller coming over in case he killed me.
I did. I don't know. I think I've watched too many I Survived TV shows. I was like, what happens if he's just a psycho?
I know. I was like, if I do get killed, this is the photo I'd like them to put on the news.
I know. We needed proof of life in the morning to make sure you're okay.
Yes.
Well, there's lots to talk about. There's quite some interesting things that have happened with you and are happening also with you. You're such a creative. As I said, you've wrote your book Currently Between Husbands. You're working on another book, which is not a sequel, but it's because the first one was more, you know, autobiography of your life, but this one's got more of a fantasy element. It's fictional. But can you just explain a little bit about it? Because I think there's going to be a lot of women lining up for this book.
Well, it's sort of based on a woman who sort of, you know, hits a certain age, her relationship sort of comes to an end, and she's really not sort of had a lot of experience. And so, not to give too much of the plot away, someone suggests that perhaps she needs to try the other flavours. Yeah. So she goes on a bit of a flavour tasting.
Yeah.
And so as I'm fairly vanilla in real life, I'm like, if I'm going to write about this sort of stuff, I need to get out of my comfort zone. So tomorrow I'm doing a basic beginner's BDSM course.
Yes, which you invited me to, which I quickly said no.
Luckily, I've got a really great friend who's an actress who I persuaded she might need to know these skills at some point in her career. And so we're going tomorrow. I'm such a nana. I've already emailed like the place to go, what should we wear? Yeah. And should I bring my own food? Because I just am like, even if we're getting tied up, I need to know like I'm going to be eating.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a lunch break.
What do you wear to a BDSM workshop?
Well, something comfortable, they said.
Okay.
So gym wear.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you how it's going. I told my mum last night.
Oh, you did tell your mum?
I did. I did. It could go one of 2 ways. But luckily, she just embraced it.
Yeah.
She's as she says, and it's in my book, she's only ever been with my dad. That's her only sort of partner. So it's not like Anne Mahoney is a swinger or anything.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not
anyway.
yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Still time. She's only 77. But yeah, so she was like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Do you think she's...
I said it's a tax write-off because it's research from my book.
Absolutely. Do you think she's gone down to like the local pub with her girlfriends and gone, can you believe what my daughter's up to this weekend?
She didn't know what it was. So I
Yeah.
had to say, it's like, kind of being... I said, I don't really know, actually. It's being tied up, I would imagine. I don't know if you get a ball put in your mouth and I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. There might be some kind of gentle role play. I don't know. I'll come back next week.
I think if you're vanilla, I'm like a paler shade of vanilla even than that, because you're introducing me to things that I have never heard of.
There's just new things all the time.
I know.
New things all the time.
I know. You've introduced me to some quite interesting aspects of sex life. Not that you've done it, but like research wise.
No. There's all sorts. There really is all sorts. I was going to also do a shibari. I think that's how you say it, course. And I love the universe, as you know. And I have a crystal in my bra and I like to manifest. So I'd gone on to sit, because I thought, once I've done my basic BDSM, it's like getting your first aid
Phase
badge.
1.
I was like, right, what shall I do next? And I looked and they do this too. And then this guy on Hinge, who's an attractive chap, I sent you the photo.
Yeah.
His one of the you write bits on your profile, and one of his things was, if you're interested in shibari or curious about it, it's something we can do together. And I thought, well, that has saved me $200.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing him on Tuesday.
So it's kind of like the origami version of BDSM in a way, isn't it? It's probably really racially wrong.
It's quite pretty.
Yes.
It's Japanese.
Yes.
It's erotic. Again,
soft cloth, right?
Well, I hope so. I hope it's not from Bunnings. I hope it's
Yeah.
not sort of really thick rope.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
it's quite soft and pretty. But I was reading an article today. Now I've gone down this rabbit hole, and it talked about in Japan. It was kind of how it was sort of how maidens were tied up, So that's what they do. I'm paraphrasing really poorly.
Yeah.
Whereas more in the European countries, it's the shackles and the kind of, it's how they were all tied up in medieval times.
Right.
That is now in the sex dungeons.
Yeah.
So it just depends, I suppose, what part of the world you're from.
Yeah.
Look at me learning.
I know.
I just think shibari, if I'm saying it right, sounds just much nicer.
It does sound nicer.
It's like craft.
Yeah.
Craft of the body.
Crochet with the humans. I think
crochet.
I actually think you do need to get yourself like a little dressing gown and start putting badges on it.
I know.
Like you've done your shibori, you've done your BD. Let's start like actually like filling them all in.
Doing it all.
Yeah, it's your sex dressing
I've got a tantra course coming up too.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. And then there's Kundalini yoga, which is more of a sensual moving your. I'm not even on that yet, so I won't say. But what I did like when I was reading about the Japanese rope was they said always have a pair of scissors close by in case your knot gets too tight.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Could you imagine? I'm just worried. What if you're in mid tie up and you get cramps?
Yeah.
Or you need a wee.
Or you hit with a wave of diarrhea.
Oh, well, that's another kink that I'm not interested in. Can we tell the listeners that you send me things like the Ray Fiennes? No, it wasn't Ray Fiennes. Who was the interview on Graham Norton that was talking about his gloves?
Oh, yeah. Who? Oh, it was, it was the guy who's married to the beautiful Danish actress. Yes. Michael, no, he's Irish.
Is he Fassbender?
Yes, Fassbender.
Is it him? Yes.
Yeah.
And his fisting gloves. You send me clips of this now.
I know, because you've introduced me. Not that you've introduced me to fisting, but like I said, you've opened my eyes.
I don't think that's the right way to start anything to talk about
Hopefully
fisting.
that's not the clip that makes it.
But we were both like, is fisting front and back? Is it just back? We're like, we do not know. Do we? I just feel like it's the blind leading the blind in the sex terms. But we know what pegging is now.
Yeah, we figured that out. Well, you
figured that out.
You Googled that for me, so I'm like, and sometimes I'll drop something into Cam when we're having a conversation. He'll look at me and he'll like, who told you that? And I'm like, oh, that would be from Cath Mahoney. That's when I've had a conversation at Balmoral Beach with you, and my eyes have been like, I've been enlightened in such a big way. Yeah, so this is going to be such an interesting book. I cannot wait, and I know you've started writing it, so it's going to be.
But I want it to be comedic.
Yeah,
obviously, it's going to be, or I hope it's comedic as well as curious. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
That's my word of the year.
Well,
curious.
That's what's really taken me. You know, with so many of the guests that we've had on this show, and we've had many couples that are into different things and non-monogamy, and we've had the sex therapist, and it really is that it's being curious, isn't it? And just hearing what else is out there. I find it really, really interesting, whether you're into it or not into it, but there's so much variety
and we
there.
might be into it.
Yeah.
You know, we've never done, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm an on top and an underneath kind of sort of lady. I mean, there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
Who knows until you give it a go.
Yeah.
Or so they say.
Look, we're both sort of performers in our own way, and you have done, and you're about to start it up again soon. You took the incredible brave step of creating a one-woman show for yourself. 2 nights, sold out. Where did that come from? How did you find the bravery in order to do that?
Well, I mean, I think we had this moment in the beach at Balmoral. We do our best work, don't we, at Balmoral Beach? I turned 50 at Christmas, and in my head I was like, oh, I'll be like so in love by my 50th, and my partner will like just put on such a beautiful party for me, and it will just be fabulous, like with all my friends, and it'll be wonderful. Anyway, no boyfriend arrived in time. And I just thought, I want to do something to celebrate turning 50. I want to see all my friends. What can I do? How can I get them all together? So that was one part of it. And then another part of it was growing up, I really wanted to be like Billie Connolly.
Yeah.
And then when French and Saunders came along and we had female role, like my only superpower has been to make people laugh. And yeah, I can also clear a room. Depends on your sense of humour, I guess. But that has been something that I've loved. Like I made Mum laugh last night. Still love it. Best feeling in the world.
Yes.
But I have absolute fear of public speaking. Absolute fear. I used to work at Nova many years ago, and I remember I had to present the publicity to the rest of the company, and my hands were shaking. So and these were my peers. That I was giving great news about what we'd achieved, and I was sweating and in such a state that my boss at the time sent me on a get over your fears kind of course that didn't work. Sorry to the chap if he's listening. So it's something I have massive fear over. But I did this podcast for many years called So I Quit My Day Job, where I talked to extraordinary people who did one thing and then swapped and did another. And it's scary, isn't it? Making any change and following your dream is scary. And I think I just went, I've got to do it before I turn 50. I want to, as I turned 40, my marriage ended, and I really thought, wow, this is not what I was hoping for my 40s. But by the end of my 40s, even the difficult bits had created a decade of wonderful new firsts and friendships and adventures and jobs. And I think I wanted to be able to say, as I turned 50, and I did a one-woman show.
Yes.
So we put it on sale. It sold out overnight. The first one sold out in an hour. Second one sold out the next day. And then I spent 2 months waking up every morning at 5 a.m. wanting to vomit because I knew I now had to do this thing because people had paid money.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know how I haven't got an ulcer.
And I and
you lived that.
Yes. And me and our other dear friend Amanda, we both had secondhand just terror for you, because both of us are like, I cannot imagine doing what she's about to do. Do you feel braver now, though, in being 50 than you were when you were 40 or 30?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And you do give less Fs.
Yeah.
You really do. And you definitely care less. And you also realise that, every year we get now is precious.
Yep.
As we age and we see things around us and people, we lose people and whatever. And so you just, in your 20s, you've got forever. I think by the time you turn 50, you're like, this is precious. My mum and dad were 52 seconds ago and now they're late 70s. Like, I see how it flies by. So you do feel braver. You do care less. And I always think, what is the worst thing?
Yeah.
What's the worst?
That's right. And the worst never happened for your show because people were rolling in the aisles literally for both nights. So it was such an amazing show.
I still get a bit of fear if I think about it.
Yeah.
And I've got a good mate, Tim Rosso, who's a comedian who also poked me to do the shows.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he'd said to me, when you do comedy, like, not that mine was comedy, obviously there was some serious stuff in there too, but he said people don't always laugh out loud. So you might think something isn't landing.
Yes.
He said, but if you think about when you watch a movie or a comedy, like, you might just be going, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that, as opposed to the big guffaws and the big belly laughs.
Yep.
And so I was glad he said that to me, because you can't hear so much when you're up the front.
Yeah.
And I was really glad that I had a fabulous photographer called Carolyn who took the shots, because you're like a deer in headlights.
Yep.
So to then see the photos the next few days of people doing exactly what you want them to do, and that's like covering their eyes, going, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that.
Yes.
Or laugh. You just go, oh, yes, it landed.
It's so true, isn't it? Because I think about that for myself. Like, I can not be laughing at a story that someone's telling me, but I can be enjoying it so deeply. But it's hitting me not in a way where I'm loving it, but I'm not laughing out loud. And I've had that experience doing a keynote on menopause and thinking that no one thought that was interesting or good, and then you get the feedback and you're like, oh, you liked it. It was so quiet.
Nobody was doing the right noises.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of both shows, I say, I'm a big oversharer, but I don't normally do it en masse. This is my first time. Just take it easy, be kind. We picked a safe word, didn't we? All of us together.
Yeah.
And I also said, if you think you've got resting bitch face, like, don't look at me, because it's going to put me off. And then both nights there were like so many resting bitch face people who then at the end of the show that you're like, hated it.
Yeah.
He would have rather been hammering something in bunny, and then they're the people that come up and go, oh, when you said that joke about the snail or you're like, well, your face didn't say that. So I think I would definitely understand an audience a bit more only from, the couple that I've already done.
And what's the plan with the show?
I think I'm going to lean a bit more into, I'll still focus a little bit on my pre-story, but it'll be a lot in that kind of 40s hitting 50s and that sort of the dating space and the stuff that you couldn't make up that just keeps happening to me.
Yes.
And your husband was great, because on the first night when you guys came, and he was telling me, the bit that he enjoyed. And I said, I had so much more like masturbating gear to do, but I didn't know if it's too much. And he was like, no, you got to lean in on that stuff. Yeah. So the next night I went really hard on that stuff. So I was like, I think I want to talk about things that women our age don't potentially talk about, but do or think or feel. And if I'm the one that's out the front, talking about my extremely long bottom hair that a friend had to shave because it got like a tail, then I will take that for the team. I will.
Okay.
So, yes. I do a lot of laser now in the back area.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
Well, I was wondering. So thanks for filling that in for me. You filled in the blanks now.
Filled in the blanks, literally.
I think I know for me, I'm a little bit older than you, obviously 55, but I have found that going through peri and menopause, as you were saying, that, giving, caring a lot less about what other people think. Mm-hmm. But I have found myself to be much braver at this age, which I didn't ever think I would. Like in some ways, I sort of feel less likely to do certain things, but I've experienced the power of saying yes to things that I never would have said yes to. And it's
you're just hosting your own new TV show, because that's not scary.
That was very scary. But yeah, and I mean, as we were talking, we've talked about those keynotes and getting up in front of people and how terrifying. And I wonder why on earth I've said yes to this job.
We do that every time, don't we?
Why
did I say yes?
And then post, you go, no, it was really good.
It was incredible.
Yeah. Sweat your balls out under your, in your armpits.
Oh, so sweaty.
Yes,
so sweaty. It's a lot, but you do, and I think. I sometimes I wish that I had more balls when I was younger, but I guess you learn as you go, don't you? You're exactly where you're meant to be at every stage in your life.
Yeah. Is there something that surprised you in menopause, or what is there something you've discovered about yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, or spiritually?
Why do I go straight to masturbating?
I don't know, because it's you.
Because it's me. What have I discovered since? I suppose what have I discovered? Well, now I'm on my HRT trio.
Yeah.
And now I'm on my testosterone cream. I am back in the room. I did worry that my libido had gone never to return.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really happy has sort of come back. I think I wish I knew more in that time before I went to see the doctor and started to talk about HRT, because I just thought I was never going to be me again. That was really scary. So I think then getting your estrogen levels right, and everyone's different, but for me, that sort of trio has just, it's just like being back. What I don't like is that you actually are, I wouldn't want to go out with someone who's got a really fancy, low to the ground car, because I just feel like I would do myself in getting out. What I've noticed, you get out of bed and you go, I was just walking and now something else hurts. There's definitely a lot more of that.
I've thrown my back out from sitting on the couch.
But this is what I mean. As a young person, you'd listen to people like us going, as if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you're like, there goes something else.
Yeah, I got to get up and I'm like, it's out. Okay, too much. What's that? Sitting?
What is that? Sitting down? Lying down? I've woken up with a bad neck. I know.
I know the amount of times you hear people say, I sneezed and my neck was thrown out.
I am worried about my bladder.
Yeah.
We've got a lovely gentleman who's producing Xander. You don't need to know about this, but stuff. As I've got older, I don't know what it is. Now, if I need to go to the toilet, by the time I get home, all I have to do is really open my apartment door, and it's like, whoa, bombs away, and it's like, no, we're not there yet. We're still going to get to the bathroom, but it's like something downstairs thinks we're at home and they can have a wee.
Oh yeah.
So is that a thing, or have I got another condition?
No, I think that's a thing. I'm pretty sure that I think you'd talk to a lot of women our age who has the same problem. And I've been on the phone with you many a time when that's happened. You're like, I'm
just gonna mute. It's just a wee. It's just a wee. So yeah, they're the joys, the highs and the lows.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think? Do you feel like we've gotten better about menopause in the sense of talking about it, owning it?
Hugely.
Yeah, right.
Hugely. Yeah. My mum's generation, they didn't try the HRTs. They didn't do any of that stuff. They didn't talk about it. And it's a huge thing. I just think I was really grateful that I had you as a friend, because I didn't have the hot sweats scenario, which to me I thought, if you're menopausal, I was still having my period, if you're menopausal, it's the hot sweats. I wasn't having that. I just had zero joy. I just really flatlined and thought it was depression. And so I'm really glad that we were friends and I could speak to you about that. But now it's so much more prevalent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it's just accepted and talked about, and it's just a thing. But I think coming out the other side, you do feel great again. You feel energized.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Not couldn't do a spin class.
Know. Yeah.
Probably. Would probably hurt something. But so much more energy again. And you want to be creative. It's great.
Yeah.
And try new things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you feel that there's a misconception? I know that we talk a lot about, we mentioned earlier about you being on the apps and stuff like that and being currently single. Do you reckon there's a misconception about women being single at 50 or even being married at 50? Do you think there's misconceptions around that?
I think it's down to the individual, isn't it, really? I'm a hopeless romantic, as you know, so I would love to be partnered, but with the right person, not just anyone. And I think you know, there is something to be said about sleeping diagonally in your bed, not having to deal with. A friend of mine was saying that she wanted to kill her husband the other day because the way he was eating bacon.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
It's just because don't have a husband, so his bacon eating doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can only answer it, I suppose, from my perspective. I think a lot more people are obviously separating. Our generation than maybe previous generations that just stayed together and made it work or didn't. And so, there are a lot more people on the apps. And that's a new thing because most of us our age were married when there were no apps. So it is a very different way to date.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I had a friend of mine talk about, she said her husband has had like really bad sort of flu. So he's been sleeping in the second bedroom for like, because it's been 5 nights now. She goes, best sleep of my life. I don't want him back in the bedroom. He's desperate to come back in and I've been loving it. She goes, how do I keep him sick so he doesn't come back in? It's like small doses of...
There must be some kind of arsenic that you could... Must be something you get on the dark web.
But I feel like for women more than men, you know, being single at our age, it's almost like there's a little, I feel like there's still that little bit of like, oh, poor her, rather than like how empowering for her. You know what I mean? Like the crazy cat lady type scenario. Men don't have the crazy cat man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he's on his own and he's dating younger or whatever it is. But women, we're so powerful at this age. And a lot of women choose to be single and are incredibly happy with it too.
I think too, as a woman, this is just my experience on the dating apps now and dating. Now that I was lucky enough to have a child, I've got a 16-year-old, feeling less lucky some mornings with a 16-year-old. But I'm not looking for that partner to have a child with. And would I be married again? Yes, if it was the right person, but I'm kind of not. That's not the end goal. So I think you can be a bit... not more picky, but you date for different reasons. I've got a great friend who just dates like guys who are like 20 years younger than her because she's like, you know what? I've had 2 kids. I'm divorced. I'm happy living on my own. I really find men who are younger attractive. Yeah. And just, it's a bit more kind of almost transactional. Yeah. They know that you're not looking for a child and to get married and, you know. Yeah. So, I guess we're all in there for different things.
And as far as like getting married or marriage as a whole, has that shifted at all for you?
Yeah, look, I don't regret my marriage or being together with my ex-husband for 13 years and Lewis, and we're all now in a great sort of setup. And I suppose then I wanted the house and the picket fence, the 2.4 kids, all of that stuff that we didn't quite have. Whereas now I would like to be married because for me that's a real, I suppose, form of commitment. Like we really want to do this, but I would happily be married and live in separate houses. Yeah. I worked in London many years ago, and the editor for the magazine I worked for had been happily married for like 30 years. And I mean, they were wadded, but they both had a gorgeous house on the same street in London. That's how it worked for them. So that I like that idea of marriage. Yep. Can I do that? If anyone's listening, I like the sound of that. I might have some rope tricks up my sleeve too. If anyone wants to propose.
Absolutely. The soft ropes.
I've got the gloves. Let's
You've got a lot of information at your beck and call now.
Short, sharp bursts. So that's what I've realised. Young people go for a really long time just to go off subject. Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah. Is dating in your 50s, is it a bit more like, is it a romantic adventure, or is it just like a massive amount of red flags that you're like, oh, good God, this is a no.
I mean, look, as a writer, it's gold.
Yeah.
It's absolute gold. There are some really clear red flags straight away with some people. And I suppose it's what you're in the market for. Are you in the market to taste a younger chap and it's just going to be physical? Yeah. Do you want a long-term partner? Yeah, I mean, the other day I was on an app and someone basically just wanted to be my slave.
Oh,
I was like, this is like Airtasker, but free.
Yeah.
I think he just wants me to say nasty things to him.
Okay.
And he'll do the oven and the fridge.
Can you do it by Zoom so it's easier?
No, you want him in the house. You want him doing the jobs.
Just to be nasty to him, though. You could just like, I'm just calling you up to be nasty.
He just wanted to, I see you and I, we've discussed this before, are people pleasers to the core.
Yeah.
So being a dominatrix, I would be rubbish at.
Me too.
I'd be like, do this. Is that okay? Do you mind? I'm sorry. Did that hurt? I can clean my own shoes. I think that means we're subs, baby.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the term.
Yes, I'm learning so much.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
got it. Yeah.
We should get badges.
Yeah, that's our next badge. Subs, right. Which is different to the sandwich.
Yes,
Yeah.
very well. No, I think that's a sexual position.
Oh, God.
Also, there's so much to learn.
So much
I went on
to
this app
learn.
called Field, FEELD. Wow.
FEELD. Okay. Yes. Got
It's
it.
just for kinks.
Yep.
Like literally. So there's me, put my full name and all my normal photos, and then I went on there and people are like just their initial blurred out. There's like body parts. There's like all of these acronyms I had to Google.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's not for me. Thank you. I got hit up so many times to be part of a threesome, which is nice. So I think if you're feeling like, if you're having a fugly day, get on
Field and
I
they'll
was
be
like, loads of people want to stick things on my bum with their wife because they're polyamorous. It's awesome.
Wow.
So good. Xander's going to have a great time.
You're going to find him on it now and it might
I'll
not
be
be a
like,
good
oh,
thing.
Xander!
Like, hang on, we've matched.
Oh my God. What are you into?
Because I was thinking field as in FIELD, like it's
Xander's
a
having a
field,
flush.
but like I'm field, like I've field the body, like it's that, like that's the.
I love that you've gone into that depth with
I know,
it.
I'm
just
just
like,
making sense.
and I was like, am I pansexual? Like, there's all of these, do I want to try a woman? Like, and if I do want to try a woman, like, do I want a shorter woman than me, or do I want a taller woman? Like, because I've
a
always
feminine woman or a bit more of a masculine.
or a lady that can lift me up in the shower as I get older and I can't get in.
Yep.
There's all sorts of things to think about. I know. It's a lot, isn't it? Which is why I'm doing the research and making it all fiction.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stories that you have told me over the years like you can't make that shit up. Like
this is what I mean. And I screenshot it to show you because and also as menopausal women, we forget. So I have to write it down straight away.
Yeah.
All of the stuff. I'm like, keep going.
Yeah, I know.
This is wonderful. I matched with somebody on Hinge the other day, which is a kind of normal on Hinge. Although the Shibari guy was on Hinge too, which I think he should have been on Field, but it's fine. It saved me $200. He is probably on that.
Yeah.
And this guy matched with me and he was like, you're so beautiful, and which is nice,
Yeah.
And he was like
And
a really
true.
tall, he was a really tall kind of Danish-ish looking guy. He wasn't Danish. And then I said, oh, you too? And he said, oh, only one problem. And I was like, right. And he said, oh, I'm gay. And I said, okay. Should you have ticked the chaps like box that you liked the chaps? And he was like, oh, I'd like to make some female friends, but also if I make a female friend and I like her, then maybe I would want to try more. And I was like, I didn't tick that box. I ticked the box for a man that is definitely going to want to be with a lady. So I was like, WTF.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a lot out there.
Not like, let's be platonic until I might want to possibly have sex with you, but I'm not sure.
There's a guy on Tinder who's 32, because I think if Bradley Cooper is with Gigi, that's like 20 years.
Right.
So this guy's, this is not 20 years. This is 18. So I feel like if it's all right for Bradley, it should be all right for the ladies.
100%.
But the thing is, I really like the look of his mum who's in his photo.
Do you want to be friends with the mum?
I think I want to be friends with the mum. And I wanted to say, I think your mum, she's got a Lee Matthews dress on. I've got that. But I didn't know that was sexy. Anyway, so these are the pitfalls. The highs and the lows of my dating life from my sofa.
And I love when you've like sent me like text messages of like, he's used too many emojis. He's off the list. I've unmatched with him because the emojis has gone too much. I'm like, oh my God, like that. I can't even.
It's the icks.
Yes.
It's the icks that you don't know you've got. Like for me, men with cats. Like there was a man with one of those hairless cats. Sort of that was like a bit kind of. I'm allergic to cats, so that's never going to work.
That's not great.
Men that play guitar and do a video about themselves playing guitar. That gives. Having worked at Sony Music with the greats, you go. Oh, I don't think I can hear you like kill that Pearl Jam song after we've made love. Yeah. So you're a no. That's a no.
Yeah. I think that would probably, if Cam had a profile, it would
he would so play guitar.
Everything would be guitar. Here's my guitar, and here's me singing this song.
I've got 3 guitars. How big are my guitars? So you don't know what your icks are until you sort of get into it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, the joys. Stay married, listeners. Stay married.
If you're happy.
Or get on the apps, and any good stories, reach out to me and share them. No names.
I was thinking about who's got the better gossip, and you can clearly hear that Cath Mahoney has by far the better gossip. I've got
you did the fisting gloves. You were like, you could use that in the book, and the main character's parents could think they were washing up gloves. But I was like, this is gold.
I know. Yeah. Well, my imagination can go to places for sure, especially when I know that you need content for your book. It's like it gives me reason to sort of think about things.
I send you funny dog reels, and you send me that.
I know. This is so true. This is so true. Well, how does single life from here look for you? Is it frustrating? Is it freeing? Is it both? I mean, is there a 5-year plan or desire for you that what you want?
I think I swing between I am enough. Yeah. I am whole, and oh my God, I really need a partner. I really do sort of swing. And I think that's the whole, you go on and off the apps, you just try and hope you might meet someone. Oh, it's when you least expect it. If another one of my married friends says that to me, I will punch them in the face.
Yeah.
So I swing between, I think you and I talked about this before the show. Maybe it was after the show that I realised I really, as I said at the beginning of the chat, I kind of almost wanted that imaginary boyfriend that I didn't have to put on an amazing 50th for me. And then I looked around, especially the first night, because the first night was so much full of, friends and people I love. And I just went, in the last 10 years, I have been a single mum a lot, and I've been a single person. But all of these people, I just felt so loved.
Yeah.
And that love comes in different ways, and that sometimes, in fact, best friend love, I think is almost like the love that you have for a child. It's not like the love you have for your husband, because you might want to kill them sometimes, but with your friends you tend to just love them wholeheartedly. Yeah. So but I still like a partner.
It's so true. And I think, I don't know if it is, again, it's just the preciousness of friendship as we age as well is so important. And I've spoken a lot about this going through perimenopause and menopause. When I first got back from America, the depth of loneliness that I felt, just for the physical changes that I was going through anyway. But so I think, if you've got friends that you can, and it doesn't even have to be a large group, but if you've got friends that understand you and are supportive, it's just it creates a whole.
Yeah, and judgment free.
Yeah.
And cheerleaders. Yeah. And people that you have shared interests and love, and just laughing. You cannot put a price on how good you feel when you laugh, can you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to finish up with a few quick questions, quick one answers. Anything. I say answer with the first thing that comes to mind, which with you could go absolutely anywhere. But this is like our rapid heartbeat kind of section.
Okay.
Okay.
Feeling hot.
And I already know the answer to a lot of these.
Okay.
All right. Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Spanx or freedom? As
Spanx.
In spank. Not like spanking. That's something different.
No, freedom, because I end up on degas if I wear Spanx, so I get trapped wind.
Hey, I get that too. My tummy hurts with Spanx.
I have to. If I'm going to wear them, I have to take degas and Buscopan. I came out of Chateau Marmont once with some famousy people. And I was a bit pissed, and my bag opened, and all of these degas and Buscapam, but like the paps were taking photos. And I was like, no, it's for wind. I was wind tablets, not drugs. And I had to go gas, because they're American, aren't they? It's not wind, it's gas.
It's
I was
gas,
like, I've got gas.
I got gas.
Cut me out of these Spanx.
I never put that together.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I wear Marks and Spencer's undies that I pull over my tummy, but they pop under.
Yeah.
Over under.
Yeah.
So you just give up.
The roll. It rolls down. Yes. What's your favourite comfort food when the hormones hit?
Oh God, I can't just narrow that down. That's like picking one child.
Right. Just whatever tastes
So I
good.
like to do savoury, then chocolate, then I like to do a cheese plate, then I might go to the ice cream, and then I might just hit Lewis's lunchbox snacks. It just depends how deep down the hole I've got. Yeah.
Celebrity crush at 25 versus now.
Oh, 25. Who do I fancy at 25? No, I can't. Yeah. I'm not sure.
And your crush now is?
Tom Hardy, but also Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay.
Harrison Ford, actually at any age, I would have said specifically in Star Wars as Han Solo. I would have liked to have had sex with him. But then I also liked him all of the Patriot Games where he was like, that kind of slightly Bondy. Yeah. But in Shrinking, I'd also have sex with him because he's just so funny.
Okay.
And Callista Lockhart, his partner, she's, youngish.
Yep, she is.
I'd bang Harrison.
Okay, I thought you're not. I thought you were going to say I'll bang her, but okay.
I would. I do love Tom Hardy, but because I really love his wife as an actress, I feel a bit dirty. Saying about Tom now. Right. Plus, after reading, he's not that good in the knees. Yeah, and he's a bit achy. I was like, that's.
You could be achy together, though.
I'd just be like, can you just rub me out? Where's a hot water bottle, Tom?
What's your most used emoji?
Oh, actually, the magic. Like the magic one that's not the magic wand.
Yes.
But like this, it looks like a squirt of magic.
Yeah. Butterfly you uses a lot too.
Oh, yeah, with you. I use the butterfly.
Is there a pet peeve that instantly sends you over the edge?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. When people cut you up and don't do the wave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When they're driving, like
so
I can
easy.
like someone can nearly have risked my son and mine life. Then they do the wave, and I'm like, it's fine, no probs.
Yeah.
When they don't do the wave,
I know it's just like raise your hand.
Just raise your hand. That people that don't smile when I smile at Centennial, that pisses me off. Also, anyone that graffitis. Especially like rock, like nature. If they graffiti nature or trees or rocks or old houses. How long have you got? Was it just one? Yeah,
we could do a second podcast. Cat's pet peeves for an hour.
My other pet peeve is when you have to lie on your front and in the pillow and put your bottom cheeks apart for them to either wax it or laser it. Okay. So you're like face down in the pillow with your hands spreading your bum cheeks. That's a pet peeve.
That's very specific.
I've given you a plethora of
that
peeves.
You have. I'm going to take all of them. Is there one thing that you'd put on like a midlife survival kit? Is there something that you think women need to have at our age? Vibrator.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
A vibrator. Well, my favourite one is called Libido. Mm-hmm. It's LBDO, and she is an Australian. They're all Australian made, and it gets the reviews are like 10 out of 10. And I always thought I would like an innie. So like a something that goes in you.
Yeah, I get what innie is.
Some people don't. My friend Michelle was like, you've got to be specific about an innie when I was telling her. And I was like, no, and this is an onni. And I didn't think I'd like an onni. Yeah. Holy moly.
Yeah, I know. We've
heard
a lot about this vibrator. In fact, you are now an ambassador.
I am an ambassador. They're amazing. But I can have an orgasm in 45 seconds. You can.
That's quick.
Not with someone. They're probably going to take a bit longer, but just on my own. Yeah. And working from home, you can have loads. Yeah. So it's great.
Oh, the joys of a creative at home. I love the fact that you loved it so much that you like called them and you were like, this is the best. I'm going to advertise you. You gave one out for free at your one-woman show.
She's going to support my shows. She just, because it's a game changer for the ladies who are living alone or who've got a husband. Yes. Anyway.
last question.
Yes.
Is there something that I find this, I'm asking you this question. I often find it really difficult myself to answer, but as a 50-year-old, is there something that you wish you could go back and tell yourself as a 30-year-old?
What would I tell my 30? I would just say really enjoy your 30s. Really enjoy them because you've got a cracking libido. If you have a baby, they're still a baby because teenagers are not enjoyable all the time. Also, your parents are at an age where they're kind of still young and can do
Enjoy
stuff.
them.
There's just my drama at 30 was not drama, you know. So yeah, I think I would just go back and go, just enjoy it, just suck it up. It's wonderful. I mean, I'm loving my 50s.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, with every stage things happen, doesn't it? But yeah, in my 30s, what did you have to worry about? And I looked amazing and I wouldn't wear a bikini on the beach. I look back now and go, God, I'd wear nothing on the beach if I looked like that.
I know, right?
Now we wear towels,
yeah,
don't we? Over our moo-moos.
Yeah.
Whilst in a tent.
Well, Cathy Mahoney, I'm excited for what you've got coming up. I know this book's going to be delightful. The One Woman Show, oh my God, look out for her when Cath does this. It's so great. You can follow Cath on Instagram on
Cathy Mahoney.
Cathy Mahoney.
No E in the middle, blame my mum.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. But thank you so much for coming in.
So good, wasn't it?
You're such a delight. You always
As
have
are you.
been. So thank
As
you
are
for
you.
coming in. And also just, again, I just love this freedom of the sex positive, that how you're talking about this and sort of, again, just taking away the shame and the taboo of just talking about
and be curious and playful.
That's right.
Yes. And at the end of this, you know, I might go back and just realise I really just like vanilla.
Yeah.
Or I might, you know, have a whole bag of tricks.
Yeah. But
up my sleeve.
Your research is benefiting many of us.
Yes,
let me tell
thank you.
Thanks, gorgeous.
Thank you.